So welcome to this new flight simulator update movie. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off from an airport, and the airport is located, I would say, north from Melbourne. And why are we flying to Melbourne? Well, because we want to see the photogrammetry updates, right? We want to see how it has updated. Photogrammetry updates are normally adding a lot of details to flight simulator. So be aware of that. And in addition to this, in, let's say, Melbourne, there are also a lot of points of interest being added. So we're gonna go inside the aircraft, just set the gears, the landing gears, because the cool thing about this aircraft is that you can also use it to land on the water, right? So it's both capable of landing on the water and landing on, say, the ground. Here you can see Melbourne, right? We're flying towards it. Melbourne, I'd say, has been updated massively, so there are multiple points of interest being added, but it also received a photogrammetry update, as already mentioned. So that's cool, right? So let's decrease the power a bit, because we want to fly straight. It's a nasty thing about this playing, and it's also a nasty thing about playing on the Xbox. Flying using, say, the Xbox controller, and that's not always the easiest way to do. So keep that in mind, right? If you're playing it on the Xbox, then you definitely should consider buying, I would say, a flight joystick to make your life easier. If you don't do that, well, then say you're having the same challenges as I currently have when playing it on the Xbox. On the PC, it's so much easier using the controllers. We're going to ignore the ATC for now. Then eventually she will stop mentioning or calling out things to us. So you can see all the white dots, right? So I left on the point of interest labeling to show you how many points of interest are there. For example, Swanston Central is there. There are several other buildings like the Melbourne Museum, which is just popping up. Albert Park is there, Royal Exhibition Building. There we would look more to the right, you can see the Victoria Police Centre station. You can see some bridges being added. West Side Place. So a lot of fun if you're a fan of Melbourne, or if you never visited it. It might be a good thing to visit it with using Flight Simulator. Although of course that's completely different than visiting it normally. So this is the fourth city which I'm flying in, or flying over, I should say. So I got a lot of feedback about that. The cities are really looking realistic, right? I asked for some feedback, and they're really looking realistic. In some cases it was mentioned, okay, hey, the maps are not completely updated, but I would say that's what we saw also with previous world updates. So that's cool, right? So as long as we know it, that's cool. So we need to decrease the speed massively, because you see we're going into the yellow angle, and that's not what we want to be, because then we will overstress the aircraft. It's also because we're pushing it down. So if we look to the right side, where we can see a lot of towers, right? The Aurora Melbourne Centre, the Prima Pearl Tower, several other ones, the Eureka Tower, and the Albert Park Lake, the Royal Botanic Gardens, and right in front of us is the Melbourne Cricket Ground. And if we look at the details of those buildings, right, if we would turn a bit, then you can see that it's really nice, right? Even you can see even the say writing on it, or the markers. Some of them look a little bit weird, for example the ones which we see here, and that's also what you see sometimes with that photogrammetry content, right? It's sometimes you need to fly really high to see the to see how beautiful it is, and if you're coming very close by, then it might not look so nice as you initially thought. So here we see a lot of stuff, right? A lot of buildings. also need to keep an eye on where we're flying to, of course, because we're flying pretty low, right? We're flying under 1,000 feet. You can see that we almost say decrease the throttling to almost nothing to avoid that we're going too fast. So the next point of interest, right, it's Albert Park Lake, and Albert Park is, let's say, one of the things it's known for is the Olympic Games, but also the other one is of course the Formula 1 racing, which takes place here, at least. If COVID doesn't prevent us to do it this year, then they will race again. Meantime, we're going to increase speed a bit because we want to gain some altitude. So let's look from the outside. So below us is a part of the track, right? And also if we turn further, we will probably see the famous piece with the wall, which is sometimes hit by Formula 1 drivers. So a lot of point of interest, right? So in front of us is the Balti Bridge. So let's have a look at it. And we also have multiple, I would say, buildings, right? So you see, it's pretty impressive, right? The skyline of Melbourne has really been revamped. Of course, there's still third-party add-ons like the ones from ORBX, right, which you can buy if you want to, say, polish the buildings. In most cases, those buildings are even more nicer than photogrammetry updates. So you can fly over the water, right? If you want to play Daredevil, you can fly over the water closely to the center, but you need to be aware that there are a lot of bridges, so there's a lot of chance that you will, say, end up in the walls. So here's the Marvel Stadium. Right below us. And then to our right we do see that the bridge, right, which I just referred to. We would go further down the line, we would end up in the harbors, right? You can see some two other points of interest there. So let's fly to it after we first have a look at the city center again. So we're going to make a turn. Then decrease the altitude. And you can hear the engine going, right? So we need to decrease the engine speed massively. Let's do a low level flight. So we're going below 1,000 feet. Fly to the city over the water. Have a look at those buildings which are added as part of World Update number 7. Again, World Update number 7. If you didn't download it yet, go to the marketplace. It's a free update which you can install and simply install it. A lot of cool buildings, right? Here on the left also. Increase throttling again because we want to climb again and then go to the harbor which I just referred to. So we're bypassing the cities again, bypassing the skyline. We're climbing again to above 1,000 feet. We're going to visit the point of interest, which are, I would say, a little bit outside of Melbourne. So here we go. You can see the highway below us, right? It's not too busy. Currently it's 7 o'clock or something local time there, so probably most people are already home. And you can see that right, if we're flying high, you can see that it looks really nice, but sometimes if you're coming close, it looks a little, I would say, ugly. The only way to resolve that piece is by really installing, I would say, for example, third-party add-ons which are really updating those buildings. So we can see the Yarra River in front of us. That's the river which we just flew over partially when I would say flying to the city. Right, it ends up in a small harbor here, and the, I would say, industrial harbor on the right side. And here we have the West Gate Bridge. So if you want to be a daredevil, you can start at the sea and fly under the West Gate Bridge, and then follow the river until you are arriving in Melbourne. You can see a lot of industry also below us. And then we have some point of interest which are, I would say, outside, including Point Delibert, the Hobson's Bay. That's the bay which is in front of Melbourne, right? Melbourne lays in a bay, so this is the bay which you can currently see. And there's a third point of interest, which I'm also interested in. So let's have a look at it before we're going to end this video. Because we've visited most of the endpoints, right? So Point Delibert there, here, then we've got the Williamstown and Timeball Tower, and then we've got the Hobson's Bay. And there, I would say, on the background, that's Melbourne. So, summary, really cool city, a lot of point of interest being added, content looks really cool. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, then consider to use the like button. If you've got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.